Well, that was Prime Minister Narendra Modi, as expected, speaking on the vision for Jammu and Kashmir, speaking on the vision for Ladakh. He began by building his case for effectively doing away with Article 370. He began by saying how Article 370 actually helped with terrorism and separatism and not in giving development and government benefits to the people of Jammu and Kashmir. Some of the key headlines from what Prime Minister Modi said in that about 38-minute long address to the nation and to the world. He assured the citizens of Jammu and Kashmir that fair elections will be held very soon. He reiterated what Home Minister Amit Shah has also said, that the decision to make Jammu and Kashmir a union territory is only a temporary step, and as soon as they believe the situation is improving and normalizing, Jammu and Kashmir could go back to having the status of being a state. He also indicated that the centre is going to step up its support, give a boost for development, for investment, and ensure that all existing central government benefits and policies and welfare schemes are available to the people of Jammu and Kashmir and Ladakh as well. He made an appeal not just to the people, to the film industries across our country to come and shoot in Jammu and Kashmir, but he made an appeal to the entire country, appeal to India to help build a new Jammu and Kashmir and a new Ladakh. To really analyze and understand the message that PM Modi has sent today, joining me in our studios right now, Bharat Kumar Rao, senior journalist, Vinay Tiwari, our consulting editor of Times Network. We also have Bacha Sen, senior journalist, joining us from Delhi, and Vivekanand N, also a political analyst. And let me start with you, Vinay. Your big takeaways from that 38-minute speech.
Well, I mean, look, frankly, nothing surprising came out of it. Of course, we expected him to explain why they did it and how bad it was and how great it will be in the future. But for me, what he spelled out of what the government intends to do and what is possible there is like a music notation sheet. I mean, you have lots of notations there. And, on a music notation sheet, where the notes can become a great orchestra and sound beautiful if you put them all together in the right way. Or they can end up becoming very ugly noise as well if they're not put in together. So, I mean, if whatever he spelled out is a hell lot of a work and it's going to take a very, very long time to fulfill. It's not going to be easy. And I think one of the things that we must remember is that a lot of people are making a mistake of thinking that the removal of 370 was the solving of the problem. It's actually the beginning of now trying to solve a problem, because you do have a lot of stuff to do. And the first thing being to try and minimize the anger which is there and possibly restore some of the basics that they are being denied, because the longer you stay in this situation of a lot of restrictions, the more and the greater the anger is going to be. So that's necessary, but it's quite a lot of work. Of course, all of this, what he said is great. I mean, if that can happen, but that's a lot of work, because it requires a fundamental change and shift in the way the state looks at Delhi and accepts what Delhi prescribes for them as a solution.
Mr. Rath, would you have expected, or were you expecting a more detailed roadmap from the Prime Minister on what he and how he intends to achieve this target? Or do you think it's all right for now to just send out a message that the interest of Jammu and Kashmir is in our mind?
What you said is absolutely right. Actually, I was expecting much more from Prime Minister's speech than what has been delivered now. In his 38-minute speech, he hardly mentioned, or rather did not mention the threat that has come from Pakistani Prime Minister Imran Khan only yesterday and today. He has asked the Indian High Commissioner to return.
Yes.
This is a major development in international politics and diplomacy. Here he did not mention anything. I would say that it was only the extension of what Home Minister Amit Shah mentioned in both houses of parliament. When it was announced that Prime Minister will be addressing the nation, the expectations had gone skyrocketed. But none of it had come, because whatever he said has already been mentioned somewhere or the other in Amit Shah's speech. Prime Minister speaking about film industry and about sports activities,
Yes.
I don't think it is called for.
Yes.
Or making lay a spiritual capital. It is not expected to come from a prime minister because there is no roadmap. Had he given any specific instances or any specific plan,
Yes.
any scheme that would take his word forth, then it was okay. But it is not so. I think he just wanted to now sum up whatever was happening for last 1 week.
Yes.
And now he has ended the chapter there.
Well, Mr. Vivekanand N, let me bring you in on this. Were you expecting a more detailed road map? Or do you think we should give the government some more time to tell us what it plans next?
Faye, I don't think that this was a platform for the Prime Minister to lay the roadmap. Because actually, what he is trying to do in this address was to build up the confidence among people. And when he said that only certain chosen families benefited of the central government funds, helps for such a long time, and the larger populace of the Jammu and Kashmir, state of Jammu and Kashmir, and the Ladakh, for example, he mentioned, there is no hospitals, no educational institutions, no development. So what he was trying to build was, he is ensuring that the development is taken to their doorsteps and their better future is ensured. So by doing that, he is trying to build up the confidence, and he is ensuring that the situation doesn't escalate to the next level before they come up with the concrete solutions. Right. So that is why I don't believe that this was a platform for the roadmap. Another thing, the threat coming from Pakistan, I must, as a student of international politics, I must tell you, Pakistan is on the verge of getting a bankrupt state. It has sort of, mortgaged its sovereignty, economic sovereignty, financial sovereignty to United States for $6 billion. As Shekhar Gupta points out, that's a bigger amount of money when, the Lakshmi Mittal's company buys that Arcelor. So, the other companies. So, such is the state of Pakistan. I don't think Pakistan's threat we would count that much. And to respond to Vinay sir's argument that we don't have to be pessimistic, and we don't have to be very much worried about what would happen at this point in time. And since the decision is taken at the beginning of this government,
we must be worried
so
for
they have
sure.
enough
We must
time,
be
ma'am.
realistic.
Right?
That there are people in Jammu and Kashmir
Ma'am,
are
the
wondering
decision is
what their
taken at
future
the
is going
right
to be.
beginning of this
People
government.
in
It's
Jammu
just
and
2 months'
Kashmir,
time.
and specifically in Kashmir, don't know for how long these restrictions are going to continue. People in Kashmir don't know
The
what this
transition,
means for this
in the
future.
transitional
Now,
phase,
1 minute,
yes.
Mr. Nartham, and this is Tanvi here. You say that this is not the right platform. Would you agree, perhaps, that maybe the right platform to give us a more detailed road map with concrete solutions that I hope the government already has, because they've already begun this change, is the parliament? And would you expect the PM to then address the parliament anytime soon?
Parliament is already
Right,
dead.
see, the parliament is, as of now, is in session.
So
and
where-
it's
what
not
is the
in,
right platform
I
in
I'm
that
sorry,
case?
if it wasn't for me.
No, Mr. Nartham, it is
Right
for you.
platform is taking all the stakeholders to, yes, ma'am. All right. So right platform is to take all the stakeholders together, bureaucrats, policymakers, even for that matter, the intellectuals who have done the detailed study of the socio-economic conditions of the state and how to go ahead with that. How do we expect, and how should we expect the Prime Minister to explain entire roadmap in the 1.5 hours or this 38-minute speech? Even if the speech was supposed to be extended for an hour's time, he cannot explain all those details.
Okay.
So we cannot expect Prime Minister to explain entire roadmap in this speech, and that definitely will come when he has talked about so much of this bringing the development to their doorsteps, developing tourism, developing this inviting film industries from Bollywood, Tamil Nadu, and Telugu industry. That he's definitely ensuring that the employment is generated, the worries of the youth is ensured, and he also said that the previous leadership, he actually sort of, indicated that previous leadership will go and the new leadership will come and new person will become the chief minister. That way, the decentralization of power from 2-3 families in the state would be decentralized, would be ensured in the days to come.
Okay, let me also, quickly go across to Mr. Bacha Sen for his initial comments on Mr. Sen, your takeaways from what the Prime Minister said, essentially summarizing what the government has been trying to explain for the past 4 days.
Well, I Faye, there are a number of things that I actually feel. The first point is, I think, as of now, none of us really understand exactly why 370 was removed. I mean, or exactly how 370 either caused Jammu and Kashmir to be backward and stood in the way of development. We still don't know all of this. And of course, I'm not going into the legality of the issue because I've read equal number of articles saying it was illegal and or rather unconstitutional, as also saying it was fine. So I won't go into the legality. I do believe that this a certain amount of this exercise has been optics. I do believe that the first set of optics, when the government took this quick decision over a period, quick decision to scrap 370, was optics towards the rest of India. That we've actually got Kashmir by the hands of, by the short and curlies, as they say, and which caused a lot of triumphalism in India. And then the Prime Minister was prompted to say that there should be no chest thumping and no sort of victory chants that the Kashmiris have been defeated and so on and so forth. The Prime Minister himself has made this clear a couple of days ago. Now I think the optics has shifted inwards to Kashmir. I do suspect that it's Eid on Monday or thereabouts. I do suspect that a considerable amount of the security which is in place, the political leadership which is under house arrest, I think a lot of this is going to be loosened. Now, before they loosen this statements, this explanation or this address by the Prime Minister is meant to reassure the people of Kashmir that the government of India means no harm to the people of Kashmir and how they're as much part of India as are the other parts of other states. So I think these are optics. This set of optics is nice because it should reassure some Kashmiris at least that it's not meant to lock all of them up good and proper. I do believe there'll be steps taken to restore certain things like quickly, like communications, like internet and so on. I do believe already. I understand schools and colleges they've asked them to reopen. So I think we are moving towards that. As for the roadmap, since you're doing optics, it's very difficult at that point of time to mix it along with the roadmap. All the things that Prime Minister Modi has said, I mean, no one can take exception in the sense of the spirit of what he said. Now, what we need to find out, or what we need to wait and watch and see, is how soon the spirit becomes reality and how soon Kashmir becomes a state once again. It's pretty odd that I think this is the first time that in a state reorganization, the states become a UT. I mean, Jharkhand was formed, it was not a UT. Uttarakhand was formed, Uttaranchal was formed, not a UT. Now here is a state which was a state and it's now become a UT. So I think that could create alienation. Despite whatever
in
the
fact,
government
I think that's
may be doing.
also what he was trying to address there, Mr. Sen.
It should return to normalcy.
Yes, in fact, I think that's what he was also trying to address there, and he emphasized, and twice I think he mentioned that people of Jammu and Kashmir must know that there will be elections which will be held in a fair way, that they will still get to vote on who their MLA is, that they will still get to decide who their chief minister is going to be. So obviously, there was an attempt to send out a message, and I think not just to the Jammu and Kashmir citizens, but also to the world, that democracy continues in this part, irrespective of what some people may be saying.
Yes, and I have a slight disagreement if some people are suggesting that.
Yeah, well, Tanvi, the point I'm making, sorry.
No, I'm saying I have a slight disagreement if we are suggesting or questioning why there was no roadmap, and I'll tell you why.
Yes.
there are two things. I think the attempt of the Prime Minister today was to once settle some bit of debate that has happened in India. I mean, this was his attempt. Whether this will lead to people's nerves getting settled outside or inside Kashmir or not, I don't know. But he's certainly trying to settle that debate, because there are still people who are wondering why this was done. I mean, Badshah said so as well, and there are a lot of people like Badshah who are asking that question.
Yes.
And I think that was one attempt that he was making. The other thing is, please understand that he did mention certain very specific points. For instance, my larger point is, it was easy for the Prime Minister to come out and say, I'm announcing a 20,000 crore package.
Yes.
That's a band-aid headline grabbing solution that means nothing. Kashmir has got packages for the last 25, 30 years and nobody knows what happened to that money. The process of developing a very fractured and a very disintegrated and a very, different state like Jammu and Kashmir requires a very brick-by-brick solution. For instance, one of the things, now I'm not saying whether all of this will happen and how quickly and how efficiently, but clearly things like, it sounds very simple, but things like block development council. Now, block development councils are essentially aggregates of panchayats and act as a second tier of governance. Kashmir has never had that. The panchayats are there, but there are no block development councils. You need that kind of a mechanism to ensure that the central aid that is sent, and it's being sent for years now, actually goes down to the last mile. That can only happen when you put a system in place. Similarly, I think today's speech, he did list out what he believes are going to be the focus areas. So if he believes Ladakh has the potential of being spiritual tourism, so be it. If Kashmir, he thinks, should be world's largest tourist spot, yes, why not? So today, I don't think we should have even expected the Prime Minister to come back with a detailed roadmap within 3.5 or 4 days of having announced the scheme. For me, the larger question is this: nothing succeeds or will work, whether it's investment or economy, unless the law and order in a state is fine. Because this is the biggest impediment to development, is law and order. I mean, if you have riots or curfew or stone pelting or a lockdown for a large part of the month, investors will not come. So that remains the first priority. And I think that's more essential to ensure at the start. And then, of course, and I think his speech was also meant to tell people that, listen, you give this process a chance and it will benefit you and help you, and it will give a chance to your children to have a better future. So he's making an attempt in saying that. I don't think any other Prime Minister would have perhaps been able to spell out a detailed roadmap so quickly.
Okay, so those are just initial reactions. It was a 38-minute long speech on a very, very important issue. It's been an historic and a landmark decision that the government has taken. The government now speaks about a Naya Kashmir, a Naya Jammu Kashmir and a Naya Ladakh, and its vision to achieve that dream, to enable people of Jammu and Kashmir to achieve their own dreams. So we are going to continue discussing what the Prime Minister Modi said in his speech and what this could possibly mean and bring about for the lives of those in Jammu and Kashmir. Our esteemed panel will continue to be with us. This conversation continues on Urban Debate. Quick break and we'll be back.